If you don't know anything about money, you have no freedom. You see, the reason there's no financial education in schools is to keep people tethered to the paycheck. So if you just step back for a moment and ask yourself, who in the world can fire you because you need that paycheck? Well, it goes all the way back to school. They said, go to school to get a job. It's in that mantra that sits between your left ear and your right ear that they hold you prisoner.
Is there a risk of inflation? I think there's a small risk, and I think it's manageable. I don't anticipate that inflation is going to be a problem, but it is something that we're watching very carefully.
Was it a mistake, Madam Secretary, to downplay this inflation risk? Did that contribute to the problems we're all seeing right now?
Well, look, I think I was wrong then about the path that inflation would take. As I mentioned, there have been unanticipated and large shocks to the economy that have boosted energy and food prices and supply bottlenecks that have affected our economy badly that I at the time didn't fully understand. But we recognize that now. The Federal Reserve is taking the steps that it needs to take. It's up to them to decide what to do. And for our part, President Biden is focused on supplementing what the Fed does with actions we can take to lower the costs that Americans face for important expenditures they have in their budgets.
What you remember here is what people work for. It's 10 million Zimbabwe dollars. You know, every stupid school teacher I know will work for this. And that's what they teach you to work for, is this piece of trash, when you should be working for this, and today Bitcoin, because it's decentralized. Centralized, as you know, centralized planning is also called communism. So what happened when Janet Yellen migrated from the Fed to the Treasury? You know, Wall Street is just an arm of the federal bank. That's all it is. Every CEO is tethered by the Fed. I mean, if you guys don't know what that means, it means you're being screwed. You're being screwed through your money.
Look, I'm not going to comment on the Fed's policies. Chair Powell has made clear that he has every intention and believes, as I would, that the Fed has the tools to bring inflation down, and that's his focus. You know, the Fed has a dual mandate. The economy is, I think it's fair to say, operating at full employment with the strongest job market in generations. Inflation's too high, and it's got to be brought down.
I don't have any stocks or bonds or mutual funds. I don't have dollars. I use debt. I use everything they tell me not to do. You know, this here is, it's a U.S. gold eagle. This is money. This here is a silver eagle, God's money. I started a gold mine in China, which they took, and then I started a silver mine in Argentina, which I still have. But the only stocks I have are stocks that I created. I am a capitalist. I am an entrepreneur. I don't mess with Wall Street. I don't mess with the banks, and I don't save money.
Most of the great bubbles, the super bubbles, go below trend and stay there for quite a while. In the Greenspan era, that tendency stopped. In 2000, yes, the NASDAQ came down 82%, which was fairly brutal. Amazon came down 92%. But the Federal Reserve braced to the rescue so loudly and strongly that they stopped the decline in the S&P at trend line. It only declined 50%. 50% is a hell of a big decline, but it was only enough to get it back then to trend. This time trend is at most 2,500. And I would expect, even if the Federal Reserve tries to do the same, it will be hard to prevent the market from declining to that level.
I'm more afraid of Fed coin than anything else.
It'll totally be central control of the economy and our lives. They'll monitor everything we do by how we spend our money. Our freedom will be gone. So the Fed coin, and what happened in China, they just denounced Bitcoin. I think they want to take away all of our rights with gold, silver, and crypto and go back to full centralized control. Just look at it again. Janet Yellen came from the Fed. So does this guy Powell. It's now the Treasury and the Fed are one centralized government. Fascism is capitalism in decay. Right now, it makes sense to get out of the reach of the Fed and the Treasury. Fed coin is one more step into fascism. So what I am doing is I am buying gold, silver, Bitcoin, and cash, and I hate to say this, bullets, because I got deplatformed for that, because they're going to start track with this blockchain. They can track everything. So they can, as I forgot the comedian, but he said they're going to track you by your bullet. So they can track everything now. So I want everything possible, gold, silver, Bitcoin, and my bullets, that are not trackable. You cannot trace me. Gold is for saving, silver is for spending, and bullets are for protecting. You've got to control that for yourself.
Only reason I buy Bitcoin is I don't trust my government. I don't trust the Federal Reserve Bank. I don't trust the Treasury. I don't trust basement Biden, and I don't trust the stock market. Now, if you trust all four of them, have a good life. So Bitcoin is a bet against the government. I'll say this one more time. If you study Marx, a central bank is essential to communism. That's the Fed. It's the third central bank we've had. It came into existence in 1913. In 1913, the Fed was created, so was the tax department in 1913. The other thing about Bitcoin is my basis is $7,000. Always remember, your profit is made when you buy, not when you sell. This book here, written by Karl Marx in 1848, is coming true today. I'm not against unions, but unions are Marxist. Workers of the world unite, Karl Marx. It is censorship, it is totalitarianism. It's just like, Trudeau of Canada, he shut, I don't know what else he's doing, take money out of the banks and all this. When is this going to end? And my poor dad was head of education for the state of Hawaii, PhD, Stanford, Northwestern University of Chicago. He knew nothing about money. And when I read this book here, The Communist Manifesto in 1965, because I went to military school. And in military school, they said, you have to know your enemy. And I realized, I hate to say this, but most of my friends and family are communists. They just don't know it. They're anti-rich, they want to tax the rich, and they're pro-union. I'm going, holy mackerel, and they have no financial education. And you see the gap going so big. My concern is what I can get into is revolution.